Hey, Lacey.
Hey, Katie.
What are you doing there?
I was thinking that we could talk about the 1994 Northridge earthquake for our disaster preparedness presentation.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, do you know anything about the earthquake?
I have never heard of it.
So Northridge is actually where I went to college, and it's located in the San Fernando Valley. It's home to nearly 2 million people.
That's a lot of people.
About 20 miles northwest of downtown LA. So in January 17th, 1994, at 4:30 a.m., there was a 6.7 earthquake that hit Northridge. And as you can imagine, that was a really big earthquake. Yeah, so I lived about 140 miles away. I was 5 years old, but I still remember being woken up by this earthquake at 4:30 in the morning, and people from Las Vegas, which was over 200 miles away, had felt it. So it was a huge earthquake.
And I bet the aftershock was also huge.
Oh yeah, there was hundreds of aftershocks. They occurred in the next 11 hours, and some of the initial ones were as big as a 6.0. So it actually occurred on what they call a blind thrust fault. So geologists didn't even know this fault existed. So having an earthquake here was sort of a surprise. But fortunately, the early morning time, that 4:30, was a blessing in disguise because not only were people not on the roads, but it was actually a national holiday too. It was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So only 57 people were pronounced dead. Some people died of indirect causes like heart attacks due to panic. But of course, nearly 9,000 people were injured. So it still did some damage.
Yes.
And look at these photos. So a lot of damage caused fire and landslides, and houses shifted off their foundations. And this caused a lot of underground gas and water lines to break. And so look at these streets. I mean, they simultaneously had these fires and these floods, so people couldn't even get out of their house safely.
That's terrible.
And after 1 week, I think they estimated like 50,000 people still didn't have public water. Here's a photo of people leaving their house to get water. And those people that did have water in their homes, because they didn't have to get the gas to heat it, they had very cold water.
It's terrible.
Yeah, here's a photo. A building crashed and landed on these cars. It was an underground parking lot. So property damage was estimated to be between somewhere around $25 billion, making it one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history.
Wow.
This is actually the parking garage of where I went to school, and obviously they had rebuilt it since, but oh my gosh, you could just see the damage. So
Wow.
3 of LA's busiest freeways collapsed, including the I-10, and that's the busiest freeway in the United States. And look at these freeways took over 3 months to repair. And you can imagine there's millions of commuters in Los Angeles daily that were impacted because you can't just take a side street out there.
No, so many people must have been affected.
Yeah. There was also this unusual effect of valley fever. It's a respiratory disease, and that's caused by inhaling fungus. So it was assumed there was a lot of fungus in the clouds of dust, and so there was over 200 cases of valley fever. Here's one of the hospitals. So over 11 hospitals were either damaged or considered unusable. So they couldn't even take in their own neighborhoods, people that were hurt, and they had to transfer out a lot of their inpatients. Yeah, and even, legislation passed laws that said hospitals and ERs and acute cares had to be earthquake resistant by 2005, but in 2010, a lot of these hospitals were still not considered what they call earthquake safe. So look at all these photos.
Wow, all that damage.
This was actually a photo of the Cal State Northridge campus. So CSUN was the biggest university and school system impacted, and classes were taught out of trailers for several years. Here's a sign, Cal State Northridge still stands. Surprisingly, K through 12th grade schools, they had very strict California laws that were enforced about making their buildings resistant to earthquakes, and so they generally survived pretty well. But
Well, that's great.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, millions of people were impacted and lost their homes. So, Katie, how do you think that this might impact OT, or how does it relate to OT?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about in our presentation.
I'm so excited to present on this to you guys. Hope you enjoyed our video.
Thank you.